What up, what up, what up, what up? What up, MidWatch? Alrighty. Give y'all a couple seconds to trickle in. And then we're gonna go and get started. Tell me how your weekend has been going. While you rock out to this little jazz music. Let me know if you can hear me okay, if the sound is straight. Okay, 60 more seconds. That'd be a dope intro. And no, it's not supposed to look like what's that the Nolan movie? What is the name of that Nolan movie where he be no? What is that movie? Where they be where the world shift upside down with Leo and Robert Pattinson? Man, what's the name of that movie? It's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway. Yo, shout out to all the August babies. I'm not an August baby, I'm a May baby. But shout out to all the August babies. Man, y'all are in a weird spot, right? Because like some of y'all get to celebrate your birthday before you go back to school. And then some of y'all go back to school right after your birthday. Where I'm from, up northeast, we always went to school like September. Like September was really when school really started. After ain't it Labor Day? It's like September 2nd or something. So Shout out to all the kids whose summers got cut short. But then they start their summer like mad early. They start their summer in like May. And I always had to wait until after my birthday, like a month later, like June. So I don't know. That's I don't know. What do y'all prefer? Would y'all rather start school early and end school early, or would you rather end like start school late and end school late? So for me, the reason why I would prefer to start later, even though we get out later, is because when we really get out, that's when like the summer is really popping, right? Like May, you still kind of you still iffy with the weather. But June, when you get out of school, you know it's hot, so you know it's summer. And then the end of August, it start getting cold. Slide all into uh, slide all into September. And October is super cold, so at least like your body changes. You get like to me, it feels like you get the full summer. And Raj is an old man that don't know what a school looked like because when he was going to school, it was in a log cabin somewhere in the Midwest. So yeah, he's like school back in my day, right? Anyway, shout out to Raj. Yo, what's good, man? What a weird week. Also, um, I had some time to kind of breathe a little bit this week, and I thought I was gonna like do a live every week, every day. My goal was like every day I was gonna wake up, eat some cereal, and then I was gonna do a live, and that did not happen. So going forward, I don't know what my schedule is gonna be. I'm still trying to work it out where it's not midnight on a Sunday before everybody gotta go back to work, but half of y'all are up just like me, so might as well, right? And also, I'm competing now. It's about to be football season, so I'm competing with football season. Then basketball is gonna start. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Fridays I just be exhausted. Mondays is definitely a no after work. So we'll see, man. Just stay tuned, and if anything shifts, I'm gonna let y'all know, man. I'm gonna keep y'all posted. All right, so today we got 5 movies to talk about. This is what I like to call a GBU, right? Good, bad, ugly. Because some movies are bad and then some movies are terrible. So I rather categorize them as such so like either don't watch it or you know exactly what you're about to get yourself into if you decide to go down that road. So we are going to be talking about the Pickup movie, which is on Amazon, which is with Eddie Murphy, Keke Palmer, and Pete Davidson. Some people don't like Pete Davidson. Some people don't find him funny. Some people find him annoying. Some people don't know what he is, so they just avoid him. But he's in there. And then Keke Palmer, she's also kind of like an interesting. Like sometimes she plays serious roles, and then sometimes she plays like comedy roles. I don't know how I don't necessarily find her funny though. Like she has good timing, but I don't necessarily find her funny. Like she doesn't naturally fit that funny flow. But we'll talk about it. We're gonna talk about the new movie Weapons. So we got to talk about: is it a horror movie? Is it a thriller movie? Is it a suspense movie? So we'll talk about that. That's in theaters now. The Naked Gun is a reboot of the classic from Leslie Nielsen. So we'll talk about that and see how not, and we'll talk about how um, Liam is doing. It's Liam Nielsen. We'll talk about it anyway. If you've never seen The Naked Gun, the old classics, definitely go just watch them. They're super funny. And if you like those movies, then you and I probably got the same humor. If you don't like that style humor with Airplane, the original Airplane, I even find Soul Plane funny at times. I can find the funny in funny and see punchlines and see where jokes are going. So things are different for me funny wise. But some people don't like that sarcastic kind of humor. Some people don't pay the attention to the details in the background when stuff is going on. There's a lot of layers. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the new movie 40 Acres, which let me know what you think that movie is about. If you've never seen the trailer, even if you've seen the trailer, just by the title alone, 40 Acres, what do you think it's about? And then we really definitely, before we get out of here, have to talk about Ice Cube's War of the Worlds, which, why? Or, yeah, I can't, I would just say, wow. War of the Worlds. Wow. That's what we'll call it. Raj said Pete Davidson and Kiki Palmer in the same movie is an automatic no for me. So, okay. So answer me this, Raj. Do you feel like Kiki Palmer is not funny? Or do you, and yo, you did say that too about the it wasn't Signs. What was the Jordan Peele movie that she was in where the spaceship was the UFO? You did say that too. You were definitely out. And then also, and there's so many layers because then we got to talk about like Eddie Murphy like doing movies again, and are they hitting like the classics? So we'll talk about it. Your sense of humor is Gemini different, and I will leave it at that. Yeah, I mean, I find stuff. See, I'm the type of person that can listen to like a raw stand up. Some people are bougie and they can't do that. They want like the full polished production. They don't even want the first one. They want like third or the fourth one after they've, been on HBO and all of that stuff. So whatever. It's all comedy. So we will talk about that. We will then talk about two shows that I'm watching and some stuff to be on the lookout for. She is 100% not funny, and she overacts in every scene she is in. Got it. Women like her so keeps getting movie roles. I'm going to stay out of a woman's business. Yeah, stay out of a woman's business. You saw what happened to Trey Songz. She said one thing about him, and we ain't seen him. We ain't heard him sing a song since. So, but yeah, okay. We'll talk about Keke Palmer when we get there. But first, I want to talk about Batman. Okay, so there's a lot of talk about Batman in the James Gunn universe and where he's going to go with it. Is he going to cast somebody new as Batman? Is he going to try to stick with Robert Pattinson? Is there going to be a Robin in it? What are they doing with the Brave and the Bold? Are they going with Dick Grayson? Or are they going with Damian Wayne? All of this stuff. And my answer to all of that is I don't care. Okay? The only thing that matters right now, as far as Batman is concerned, is Batman and the Batman Returns coming to theaters in the end of August. Okay, August 25th. So this is something. So I've seen two things going on. I've seen they're doing like a Batman orchestra live concert thing. I think it's in Cali. I don't know exactly where. And then I've seen this more than once that they're doing a Batman double feature in AMC theaters. Now, there is no AMC close to me, so I don't know if I'm even going to be able to see that. You know how I am. I would have traded, all of my Superman tickets to go see Batman, even if I had to sit in a corner somewhere just to see it on a big screen. As far as what's going on with the James Gunn and all of that, I don't care until the movie's made. I'm not gonna get into rumors, none of that, right? The Batman was a pretty good movie, but to me, the Penguin TV show is really what holds that together. So whatever they're doing outside of that, and if they're gonna, put the new Superman in with Robert Pattinson and all of that stuff, I don't know. I don't care until they say, hey, this is what we do, this is what we're doing, and here's the trailer. Other than that, I'm gonna stay out of it because I don't want to get my feelings and emotions involved, right? And if it doesn't seem like I don't care about Batman, that's the cow that I have right next to me. All right, so there you go. That's it for my Batman news. Now, if you want to leave in the comments who you want to see in the new Batman movie, who you want to play Robin as either the character or actor or, whatever, you let me know in the comments below. As of right now, I still think that the Batman should have been a Batman Beyond movie, but we're probably never going to get that, so I don't care. And I do like Ben Affleck as Batman. So there you go. If you don't, that's on you. And I get it. We all have our different sensibilities, but I'm not saying he's my favorite, but I also don't think he's the worst either. So, all right. Now let's talk about these new movies. And the first movie we are going to talk about is actually The Pickup. So the reason why is because there's not much to talk about. There's just not much to talk about. It's not giving away anything. It's just not much to talk about. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, on Amazon, I guess it's Prime, right? Amazon, the app, the movie app. So, like I said, it stars Eddie Murphy, Pete Davidson, and Keke Palmer. So the gist of the movie is a routine. Okay, so basically, Pete Davidson and Eddie Murphy are both like security men that do the pickups, right? In the trucks and everything, carry the guns and stuff like that. So they pick up money and drop off money, and they have like certain routes that they do, and they don't necessarily normally work together, right? So it's kind of how they used to do Eddie when he was younger, and like put him with the straight and narrow character, and he was like the obnoxious one and doing all of that extra stuff. That's literally what they did in reverse. So Eddie is now the straight and narrow character, and Pete Davidson is the obnoxious one doing stuff, and Eddie constantly calls him out on it. So, like I said, they're both armored truck drivers, and then they get ambushed by ruthless criminals. And it says, as the chaos unfolds around them, the unlikely duo must navigate high risk danger, clashing personalities, and one very bad day that keeps getting worse. Okay. So first, shout out Chuck from the Midnight Boys for doing his manifest. I work on my manifest and all of that. But yeah, so that's the gist, right? The armored truck drivers, and they are paired together. Is it accidental? Is it intentional? And then, stuff gets bad. And everything that you could think that would go wrong with an armored truck delivery is what goes wrong. Now, I watched this. I watched this on the Amazon app, and I fell asleep the first time, but I was tired, so I didn't fall asleep on it. I just happened to be tired, so I went to sleep. I chose to go to sleep, and then I woke up. And then when I woke up, I finished watching it. So it wasn't like one of those things that I went like 3 days later and like went to go finish. I finished it after I woke up. It just so happens that I chose to take a nap in between. All right. So how is Eddie, Keke Palmer, and Pete Davidson together? They are not funny together, in my opinion. And I think the weakest point of this movie is the comedy. I think the storyline makes sense. I think the characters that they built into the story make sense, and the high stakes make sense, and everything that transpires makes sense. There's even a bit of like Fast and the Furious. The action was really good. Believe it or not, it was actually an action-packed movie, and there was a lot going on. But I don't think those three actors and actress together work, personally. The reason why I say that is because, to Raj's point, Keke Palmer isn't that funny. And it's not that she doesn't, like, she's not oblivious to what comedy is, but in a realistic scenario, she would be the straight and I think that she should be the straight and narrow character, and then have somebody like a Pete Davidson or maybe like a Eddie Murphy be like the obnoxious character. I don't think then they try to make her into an action kind of person, and I think she did better that in that direction than she did as a comedian. Now, I'm not saying like make her the next ballerina or anything of that nature. I'm not saying give her like a solo, action movie. I'm just saying that in this movie, her character worked except for the humor. They also did it. They also tried to make her like kind of like a seductress type character, which really didn't work because she was kind of too straight up and narrow. Like, she's not she doesn't, to me, have that like walk in a room and like take over the room and everybody's like, yo, who's that? And then like she's really playing everybody, and then she's gonna steal the gem without anybody looking. It's more like, hey, there's an idiot, and I'm gonna take advantage of the idiot and get over on that person. Okay. Raj said, can you go even further and say Eddie is a terrible straight man in movies? Wow. Yeah. I agree with that. And okay, I'm glad you said that, Raj, because I think what's going on with Eddie's new movies is he seems to be like he's trying to play less of like the obnoxious character and more of a straight character, even in like Coming to America or Coming to America 2. He was too like he doesn't do that character well. And Raj, I think you're right. I think that's what the problem is. Now, let's not, like, in the movie Boomerang, like, that's a classic movie. That's not him as a like comedian or anything. So it's not that he can't play like straight roles. Even A Thousand Words wasn't like the worst movie in the world. Like, he can play serious roles. It just seems like if the occasion is for it to be a serious movie, he can do better than to be a straight and narrow character in a funny movie, and him not be the funny attention seeker, if that makes sense. And Ross says, I agree. Keke should be the straight person in the movie, not the comedy relief. Yeah, and I'm not saying that she was too much, but it was very like it was her and Pete trying to play off of each other, and I don't think that they are a great pair. Oh, yeah, they're just not a great pair. They're just not a great pair. When Eddie does drama, he does drama well. Yep, exactly what I was going to say. Like, he can do drama, but in comedy, him being dramatic in comedy doesn't really work. And I mean, you it's hard to look at him and not expect to get the humor from him. Like even when they're going back and forth and you're going like that, you're waiting for him to do a dot or something, deliver like a punchline or punch something up, and he doesn't necessarily do that. He makes you laugh. This is just a bonus. Yeah, right. he can make you laugh when he does drama, right? But it's like the tone has to be drama. But I mean, yeah. So, and then Eva Longoria is in there, and she's not a comedic. She's not, to me, a comedic actress. And this is supposed this is supposed to be a comedy. Like it's supposed to be humorous. Um, and they play more to the action than they do the humor. Um, so yeah, like I said, there wasn't much to talk about. Yeah, I mean, there's a Marshawn Lynch kind of cameo in there. I guess Roman Reigns is an MMA fighter. I don't really know him, so you might get these little things, but it's not great, and it's really smart that they didn't put it in the movie theater because it would have been bad. I think for it to be on Amazon Prime, leave it there. And it seems, I don't know, somebody needs to look and see if Eddie got like a deal with Amazon, because it seems like most of his movies come out on Amazon, except for Axel 4 or Axel Foley. I think it was Axel 4. I don't know if it was Axel 4 or Axel Foley, but that was the fourth movie in the cop movie. What is that? In Beverly Hills Cop. It was Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. That's what it was. Raj said Eddie is 64 years old. I'm sure he is tired of carrying movies. You're right. You're right. As the only funny guy, he has more than earned the right to be straight guy. We, the consumers, watchers, get to determine if we like it. Yeah, and he can't really get mad. Now, as a side note, I did see him talk about Norbit in a recent interview, and he was like really defending Norbit. And I looked in the comments, and there seems to be people that really either love Norbit or hate Norbit. I don't like Norbit at all. Like, I not even a little bit. Um, People like the "How you doing" and all of that, and her splashing the water, and that to me is bad. But like, he wrote that with his brother Charlie Murphy, R.I.P. Charlie Murphy. So it seems like that has a very sentimental place in his heart, and like Raj said, I mean, he's 64. He's earned his spot. Nothing that he does now in movies is ever gonna make us like move him down a notch than where he is. He's still the GOAT. So, but yeah, I just wanted to just talk about that. I wanted to talk about the pickup, Pete Davidson, Keke Palmer, Eddie Murphy, because I know certain people are going to watch it, especially because it's Eddie Murphy. I don't think you got to rush to watch it, but I wouldn't be surprised if like around the holidays, when people get together, like it's a movie that's playing in the background. I think it's gonna be like just something to throw around while everybody's kind of half the people in the kitchen, some people outside, some people in the living room, other people are walking through and stopping and looking at the TV and then carrying their plate to their room and trying to find their cousins and all of that stuff. But I think it will be one of those movies that might just be on. But I think they put it in the right lane. So let me know if you have seen it, if you liked it, if you loved it, good, bad, or ugly. I actually have it mid tier. Okay, it wasn't the worst thing that I've ever seen. Like I said, I think it's unfunny. More than anything, I think the action is what saves it. And even if it was just an action movie, I think it would work. So, not bad, but not good. So I'll leave it there in the mid tier. Let's see. We are going to talk about 40 Acres next. All right. Give me a second to a quick swig of water. Hmm. All right. All right. So we're going to talk about the movie 40 Acres. Okay. All right. So, like I said, let me know in the comments below, based on just the title itself, the poster, like, what do you think that this movie is about? Excuse me. So, honestly, I thought going into it, first thing I thought, 40 Acres and a Mule. I thought it was like, some type of like post like Civil War, stuff got like went in like a different historical kind of route or whatever. Then watching it, like I thought about certain things that maybe it was or it wasn't. So I don't want to spoil what it is. Now, I'm gonna start saying that I'm not gonna say that you gotta rush out and go see this movie. Not at all. I think certain people are gonna like this movie. I think some people are gonna think it's too slow. I think some people are gonna be bored, and I think other people are not gonna like it at all. And then some people are gonna love it. This is not Sinners, where it's like divided, um, or hey, I've already seen this before. I think it is original. I just don't think that it lives up to what it could be. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the synopsis, and then we'll talk about it from there. All right, so 40 Acres is a post-apocalyptic action, horror, and drama filmed by R.T. Thorne. It stars Danielle Deadweiler as Haley, an ex-soldier leading her family on a 40-acre farm, who must defend it against raiders. The film explores themes of generational trauma, resilience, and the struggle to build a legacy in a harsh environment. Okay. The reason why about the themes is because I didn't watch a trailer. I usually don't watch trailers. I try to watch like a teaser and then make a decision if I'm going to watch it or not, unless people start talking about it. But I tend to try to not watch trailers because I don't want anything to impact my judgment, right? I don't want to be in the movie theater and I'm waiting for the scene to happen. I hate when that happens. Or like when you think a scene is going to happen and then it doesn't happen. And then you get to the end of the movie, you like, so they lied to me. I don't like that. Okay. The other thing is, I saw the movie Civil War last year, which I think was an A24 film, if I'm not mistaken. And I thought that was going to be completely different than what it was. So I had to look at it, not what I assumed it was going to be, but what it actually was and make a determination if I liked it or not. And I really didn't. I hated it. So again, this is kind of like one of those things what my expectations were versus what it really is, right? Okay, so what I thought, like I said, 40 Acres, I automatically think of 40 Acres and a Mule. There's a black girl in it, right? The way that the teaser kind of looks, it looks like it's a black chick and her family versus some white guys trying to go on her land and try to take it over. So yeah, that's what I thought it was gonna be. Then I'm watching it, and it wasn't like this old kind of like timey movie. It was very like modern, it seemed. Um, yeah, it was modern. And so we're going from there and we're looking at it, and then it was like, okay, you have 40 acres that you have to defend, but it's like your family, where's the 40 acres? Where's the defense system? The whole idea of the raiders, like it literally could have just been anybody. It could be zombies, it could be monsters, it could be cannibals, it could be like white people that just want to expand their land. It could be people that are just walking around taking over territories. Like it literally could be anybody, and I think the story doesn't change. So I'm not gonna say who it is or what it is that are actually going to that are attacking them. But yes, there are people or people-ish things that are attacking them. I don't think that makes a difference. And I kind of wish it does, because like if you go and you watch something like The Walking Dead, you have an expectation of no matter what's happening, you understand what the threat is. And no matter what's going on between the core unit, you know that the threat is coming and that you're always waiting for the shoe to drop. For me, in this movie, being unsure what the threat is, not feeling what the threat is, kind of being told what the threat could be, you're just kind of like, okay, I mean, I it's got to drop sometime, but by the time it drops, doesn't matter. And like there was a literal time that I checked my watch and I was like, all right, bro, let's get to it. Um, and then the twist happens, and then I didn't care. I didn't care. Um, One, because I felt like they didn't make the threat feel like unconquerable. Two, to be honest, I didn't like the characters. Specifically, I didn't like Haley, who was actually a mom. Now, I'm not gonna say anything necessarily against like the actress because I don't really know the actress like this, so it had nothing to do with the actress. For me, it had everything with this lady, Haley. Okay, she's a mom, she's a wife, she's an ex-soldier, and she got like it mentioned like trauma, generational trauma going on, but I realized it, but I didn't feel it. And like with Sinners, not to say that these are anything alike, but with Sinners, you felt what the generational stuff was, right? When you had Preacher Boy dealing with his dad as the pastor, and his dad is like, yo, you need to stay home. And he's like, nah, I'm about to get out of here and I'm going to hang out with my cousins. So it should be okay. And then it wasn't okay. And then he gets back and his dad is like, okay, like stay home. He's still like, I can't do it, Pops. You know what I mean? Like I feel that struggle. This I didn't feel. Like I felt the drama, like I felt the tension between the family, but I didn't understand why there was tension within the family. My other issue is this chick is supposed to be like an ex-army soldier, and I didn't feel like she was doing any soldiering, and it didn't make it seem like, you know, like she was in the personnel office, right? It seemed like she was like really like front lines, but when it comes to the setup with 40 acres, I think it was too big for her britches. Like none of the security felt like when you're watching these type of movies, you know, they got bells and whistles and cameras and tripwires and all of this, and you know, and then you get on the land and you know, and you get explosions and like your house is defended. And again, they made it a point for her to be like an ex-soldier, and it didn't feel like it was defended, which doesn't make sense. So then you're like, okay, well, who do you have? So okay, if you're 48, I mean, like we're talking about like 40 acres, and I had to Google this. This is like 35 like football fields. Like it's insane, right? Just like even if it was a football field and you had to defend a football field, like either your football field is going to like be set up so that it defends itself, or you're going to have like the militia that's going to defend this. And this is who she has to defend it. And it's just like, all right, cool, this is your family, right? Like it's you, it's your new husband, your son, right? You got daughters on there, he got a daughter, and that's it. And we're talking about 40 acres. Now the other thing is, and I might have missed it, there was the I don't know how she got 40 acres. Like there's a storyline going on without spoiling it with you know generational stuff, but I don't understand how she went from where she was to how she got to 40 acres. Like to me it doesn't make sense. And then it's not defended. So to me it's like, bro, like you to me like you're presenting these ideas, 40 acres, like I'm supposed to feel that like 40 acres, wow, like and then you're supposed to feel like, okay, you're defending this, and you know, and people want your land for whatever reason, or they want you for whatever, and I don't feel any of that. And then all I'm really left of is like a family drama, and I'm like, wait, where'd this come from? So you got let's see, you got Haley, right? Then you got her husband, who's Galen. You got her son Emmanuel, right? Then you got, I think her name is Dennis, uh, and then you got the young small girl. And then like it's supposed to feel like, okay, like I'm doing this so that you know you guys can be okay and survive and all of this stuff, but it doesn't feel like that to the point like you getting characters that are frustrated, and I'm frustrated with them because it don't make sense. So I don't know if it's like a meta joke. I don't know if it's intentional or what, but like that's where we're at. Okay. Then this is the other daughter, and her name is Rain, and she's basically it's her and the guy, um, Galen. That's his daughter, and then they get married, and then that was the other thing. Not that I. It's not that they got married that I have a problem with. I don't care. I think that's beautiful, and obviously, like he's Native American, and there's like he's speaking his natural language and all of this stuff, and they make it like a point to kind of like show the blending of the Native American culture with the American culture and stuff like that, especially when it's like on land and protecting it and all of that stuff. And I think that's beautiful. But I also don't know how they ended up getting together. Like it doesn't, I don't know. To me, I don't know if I missed something, but it doesn't make sense. And then at a certain point, I don't even care. Right. So this is the director, and this is what's his name? RT RT Thorne, and I don't really know him that much. I don't know if he's like an indie director, up and coming director, and I'm not saying that he was a bad director. I just think that this just wasn't good. And the reason why I kept bringing up, yo, what up, Kai? What up, AP? The reason why I kept bringing up Sinners is because there's a lot of cultural stuff going on in Sinners, and I think like there's cultural stuff that you can latch onto and appreciate in there, but then you actually have a story what's going on. Whereas this is like highlighting the cultural stuff, but I feel like the story is what's falling apart. And I don't like, from what I was able to research, this director, like he's Canadian, maybe he like people know him well in the circuit out there, stuff like that. Like I said, I never really heard of him. I don't necessarily know why he chose to blend the Native American culture with the African American culture. I don't know if he has roots in Native American culture. It's cool, but the storyline falls apart. So for me, 40 Acres is mid. Okay. And I say that because the last kind of like the last third of the movie, there's a lot of action, and I think like if you wait it out, like if people that aren't going to be invested in the characters and all of that, or what's really going on, like if you're just invested in the like if you're just invested in if you're just invested in the action and what's going on, then that third act might do it for you. But for me, it didn't work. Um, and I did appreciate the cultural stuff, but I didn't like the story. So I'm going to leave it mid. I think that if it didn't have that action stuff going on at the end, I definitely will put it bad. And I think that like there were other characters that were able to kind of shine in certain scenes, especially like in the third act, that also made the movie pretty good. And like even my boy Emmanuel, like shout out to him because I thought he did like a fantastic job. And I don't even know if he's like put up like front and center in this, but I think he carries the movie. And like I said, I don't really know Danielle Deadweiler too much. I don't really know what she's done. Like it says, oh, she was in the piano lesson. Oh, she must have been the sister. Says she was in The Harder They Fall. I don't remember her in that movie. I don't remember her in Carry On. and then I didn't see the movie till, I mean, so she's had a lot of um, success like recently, and maybe they wanted her for a certain reason. Maybe they saw her in other movies and wanted her to play this a certain way, but I don't for me it didn't work. Her character didn't work. I think she was the conflict more than the conflict of the movie itself, which would have been fine if you didn't lead with, yo, this movie's called 40 Acres. Like it should have been a different title. It's like a bait and switch. Like you go into it thinking you're gonna get one thing and you're going to get something else. So all right, anyway, we're done with this. This movie, 40 Acres, it's going to be mid. I'm never gonna watch it again. And if you are gonna watch it, I would say wait for it to come on streaming. Like, don't even. And again, like I don't want to be that guy. Of course, support black actors and directors and all of that. And if that's your motivation, like if you want to go and put your money towards that because that's important to you, then good. Like enjoy it. You probably will enjoy it. This probably was like a Sundance film, honestly. And then people were like, "Yo, we gotta make sure this gets pushed." And again, like I think the themes that are in it was really good. I just don't think this worked. I felt like it was a bait and switch. And if they would have came correctly, maybe we could have appreciated more for what it actually was. All right, we're done with that. Now, yes, I mean we pretty much started with the mid tier, so we are actually going to talk about weapons. Mm. Shout out to everybody that came through today and supported. Well, we got like almost at 55 minutes in. We did two movies. So like I said, I know it's some people got to work and stuff tomorrow. So for those of y'all that came through, I appreciate y'all, man. Um, I love y'all. Like, share, subscribe. You know, share. But I mean, we still got at least three movies to go to, so we about to be here for a minute. So if you ain't got nothing to do in the morning, or you just like a insomniac like I am, I like to call y'all midsomniacs when y'all watch me. If you're a midsomniac like I am, shout out to you. We here. Go use the bathroom real quick. Get pour you something up real quick. Pop you some popcorn. Like we about to get into this. And shout out to Kai, shout out to AP, shout out to Raj. Appreciate y'all. All right. Let me go on and get my little drink of water real quick. Shout out to CJ too, because it sounds like a song he would have did. Still waiting for him to give me my songs so I could play it in the background. All right, hold up. Yo, so before we get started, go ahead and let me know if there is a movie that y'all like, a recent movie that you've seen, or a movie that has come out recently that you guys want to actually watch. Right? I mean, you could even throw Superman and Fantastic Four up there, because I know some of y'all haven't even watched that yet. My bad, dog. Hold up. All right, so I'm gonna start by saying that this is the best movie on my list, and I mean, I'm not gonna. Oh, you gotta wait till the end to see what's going on. Like, I ain't even gonna do that to y'all. Like, this is straight up. This is not only the most recent movie that I've watched, but this has been my favorite movie so far. So let's see. First of all, okay, so like some of y'all may not have watched the trailer, right? So if you haven't watched the trailer, if you haven't heard about it, if you have heard about it and you wasn't sure, let me let me know in the comments based on like the word weapons, the title, and the poster alone, like what you think the movie is about. Raj said Badlands, Predator Badlands is on the radar for me. Question is if I'm a Captain Hook it or not, and or see it in the theaters. Um, so the only Predator movies that I've seen are the Alien vs Predator movies. So I have to now. I've seen all of the Alien movies, and I did that specifically because Alien Romulus last year. Uh, and if you're curious to how I felt about those, I think I did a whole ranking of them. So uh, go through my videos, go watch a couple of those, or go through them, and you'll find. Especially, it might be on the live playlist that I got linked up there. Um, you you'll see like how I rank the Alien movies. But I have to do the same thing with the Predator movies, and I want to do that fairly before I go and watch Badlands. Now, it seems like they are trying to merge the Alien universe with the Predator universe smartly this time because apparently with the Alien vs Predator movies there was so much controversy that they tried to make it like an alternate timeline or like an alternate universe. So um so it seems like now they're going to try to make this like an official like because if you watch the trailer, if you watch the teaser trailer, there's um I want to call it Dusatani, but it's not Dusatani, but it sounds very similar to that. Um, let me see. That'd be awesome if like I googled the Alien movies and my like ranking came up. Um, oh, Wayland Dutani. Okay, Wayland Dutani. I did that before I hit enter. It was in there. Yeah. Oh, Wayland Utani. Oh, I thought it was Dutani. Wayland Utani. Okay, there you go. So, um, there is an Wayland Utani android in the trailer for Predator Badlands. So it looks like, especially with them doing Alien Romulus last year, they got Alien Earth, which is a TV show coming out this year. Then they just did the Predator movie. What's the cartoon that they just did? Killers, Killer of Killers, right? Um, it seems like they're trying to connect it in a smart way. So that was a long-winded answer of saying yes, I'm excited for Predator Badlands also. All right. Okay, first let's start with the main actress. Actually, all right. Yes, my bad, y'all. My bad. Let's start with the synopsis. All right, so synopsis of weapons. When all but one child from the same classroom mysteriously vanishes on the same night at exactly the same time, a community is left questioning who or what is behind their disappearance. Okay, got it. So let's start with the Julia Garner. Julia Garner plays Justine Gandy, and if you, I was introduced to Julia Garner um, from Ozark, right, from Netflix. Okay. Since then, she's gotten so popular and stuff. Now, here she is. She was just in the Fantastic Four movie as the Silver Surfer. There you go. That's why I put that up there. Which literally just came out like a couple of weeks ago. So Julia Garner is really doing the damn thing. Raj said, hold on, sorry. Wow, I'm so sorry. Hold on, this thing is going crazy in my hand. Pause. Anyway, Raj said Julia Garner as an actress intrigues me, but she and Kiki Palmer have a lot in common. Okay, by that, do you feel like that means that she has a limited like acting range? Like, can she only do limited roles? Also, also, I think she plays better like as an actress when it comes to comedy. But Ozark is such like a dark comedy that like it's not the same thing as like laugh out loud type comedy. I don't know if it would be the same. Um, he also said where they pick roles that don't always enhance their acting skill sets, in my opinion. I mean, listen, she she is literally Silver Surfer in the new Fantastic Four movie that is starting a franchise that didn't die at the end of it. So she literally she's locked in to Marvel and Disney. Say what you want, but maybe it wasn't like necessarily the best acting choice. But I mean, she's locked into to Marvel and Disney right now, coming from a Netflix TV show. So it may not be great, but I mean, I think she's doing an awesome job. And now she like is literally like the face of this new movie. She has limited range and either don't know how. She has limited range, and her and Kiki don't know it or don't care. I mean, I think at this point, why would they care? I mean, I'm not gonna compare the two like who has a better career right now, but I'm just saying like um, Julia Garner's doing really well for herself, coming from a Netflix show. Her as Silver Surfer was fine. She did more with less. Yeah, and I really don't think that that role was like meant to like jumpstart her career or anything. So, all right, let's let's get into it. So yeah, it stars Julia Garner. Now, Josh Brolin, who was actually Thanos, um, in the MCU, right? And then you got Wong. So that's three prominent actors. Okay, let me not call them prominent, but well recognized actors and actress that was in this movie that um, that is in Marvel, in Disney, in the MCU. I mean, that's huge. But then also, guess what? This dude is in here too, right? So we're gonna talk about him too. But he was just in the Iron Man show, and I mean he had a pretty significant role in that too. So here you go. So now that's four. So I mean, for all of them, I mean they're not necessarily like leading roles in Marvel, but I mean that's really dope that they're all in here. Okay, so you got Julia Garner as Justine, you got Josh Brolin as Archer, you got Benedict Wong as Andrew. And just for future reference, I'm going to probably refer to him as Wong for the rest of this live stream. Not because that's his last name and nothing intentional, but because that's the character that he plays in Marvel, and he will forever be that character no matter what he looks like in this movie. Then you got Austin Abrams as James, and then you have June Diane as okay, Donna doesn't matter. But Aiden Enrich plays Paul Morgan, and that's the dude that was the cop. You're like, what cop? He plays the cop. Now, I mean, he plays like a crazy cop. Um, I don't have a picture of him in his cop outfit, but yeah. I mean, if you thought dude was crazy at Ironheart, he's a fanatic in this daggone movie. So I'm gonna just keep it right there. Now, what I'm going to say is not only was this movie good, but it's also the best movie on my list that came out like in the last 30 days. Um, Now, I'm not necessarily a person that like looks for horror, and I'm not even gonna. There are horror elements, but for me, this was more of like a thriller. And then once you get down to like what the twist is, I think they kept it simple, and I thought they kept it interesting, and I thought it definitely keeps you on your toes and you want to know more, and you absolutely want to know what's going on. And I think they did a fantastic job. Now, I'm not going to show like any kind of like scene clips or anything. I'm just showing this because these are some of the main characters of what's going on here. Um, Now, the draw of the movie, when you talk about like a bait and switch, the draw of the movie is these kids go missing, and they all get up in the middle of the night at the same exact time, and they all leave their house, and then they go missing, and you have no idea where they went, why they went, like without a trace. uh, Julia Garner playing Justine is the teacher. So everyone is looking at her like, oh, you must have did it because you're the only thread that ties all of these kids together. And it's only kids from your class, and they all disappeared except for like that one little boy that's in the top right corner. I'm not gonna explain like anything that's going on with him, but I think, and that like dude ain't like the dude from the Sixth Sense, right? Like I don't think like his acting job, the dude that plays Alex, the little boy, like I don't think this is like a role that like is gonna define his career or anything. But I think like he did a fantastic job for what they gave him. And I thought all of these characters really did well for what was going on. Now, the reason why I like this movie the most is because it gives you hints of like different themes and elements that like you wouldn't expect that go together. Like it's not just one theme. Like it's not just like a horror movie or like a comedy or action or thriller or whatever. Like there's so much going on in this movie, and I think all of these characters kind of give you something different. But then it's all believable. It's all believable. All of these characters are believable. So I think that's fantastic. Um, it definitely kept me on my toes. There's definitely stuff going on, and you definitely want to know more. Absolutely. So um, I think that's all I want to give you. Now, I don't know. I think maybe let's see, it's August. Maybe in like 2 weeks, I'll come back and I'll like do a spoiler talk about this movie because I really do want to talk about this movie, and I don't even know if I'm gonna wait that long, but I'm not gonna do it on this live stream because this is really supposed to just talk about like these movies, kind of give you an introduction if you didn't know anything about them, if you wasn't tracking them. Like I want you guys to know if I liked it, if I didn't like it, should you watch it, should you not watch it? Like that's the whole point. But I will definitely like come back and do a spoiler talk about this movie. Even if it's just by itself, even if it's only a couple minutes. Like I want to talk about this movie. I just don't want to spoil it here. Now, with that being said, is this a movie that you would actually want to see? Is this a movie that you are interested in seeing, or you just like you don't want to have nothing to do with it? So in the comments below, go ahead, put yes if you're interested in it, no if you're not interested at all, and you want to stay away from it. Keep it simple. And like I said, we'll come back and I'll do a spoiler talk about it. And some people, even if they don't like it, they'll even watch a spoiler movie just to say like just to know what's going on. I know a lot of people are talking about it for different reasons, but I thought it was really good. Some people said they couldn't even finish the movie, and I don't think it's that bad. And now, listen, this is coming from a person. I am 100% one of those people that don't do horror movies, like Exorcist and anything, especially anything like demonic or anything. I don't do any of that, and I didn't get any of that from this. So, rest. Now, I'm not saying there's no horror elements, and I'm not saying like the stuff that. I mean, it's definitely horror stuff in it. Let me be clear. But what the horror is isn't far fetched and is not demonic. Let me just start with that. So if you were kind of like, I'm gonna say it's not demonic. What it is to me is not demonic. Um, I'm gonna just leave it at that. I'm gonna just leave it at that. And if you think it is, then you think it is, and you let me know, like, yo, this is absolutely demonic. But I'm telling you, like, this is a person that won't watch nothing with an exorcism or anything in it, like, absolutely not. And I think what they did to explain what was going on made sense. And you know, this could easily be like an episode on Tales of the Crypt or something. I think they just punched it up and made it like a lot more scary, if that makes sense. Raj said, "Hell no, he's not watching this." Um, and again, look, some people they go and they just watch, they just read Wikipedia and stuff going on. I don't like. I'm not gonna do that. Like I'm gonna watch it if I'm gonna watch it. If I'm not, like if I go and read it later to see what people say, or if I watch reviews, but that doesn't change my opinion on something. And I think the twist was interesting, and it's a twist that I didn't expect. And it's definitely definitely gonna be a Halloween costume this year. I guarantee it. I guarantee it that there are going to be people dressed up in a Halloween costume of this movie alone. I guarantee it. And I haven't heard this being like a Stephen King, book or anything prior. I don't know that much about it. It's definitely going to be people dressed up like that, like this Halloween. Guarantee it. Okay. So, yes, I will come back another time. I will do a spoiler review. Hopefully soon. I might even just do it this week just to get it out the way. But my recommendation is to go see it. Go see it with somebody. I think this movie would be good to see it with somebody because you want to talk about this movie. Um, and sometimes like you don't want to wait for everyone else to go watch it. So go watch it with somebody else. Go watch it with somebody else. And it's interesting. I'm really this year probably isn't going to be the year that I figure this out, but I really want to know the cycle of Halloween. Like I know, like they're already starting to put Halloween stuff in the stores and all of this. So this movie comes out like at the top of like the Halloween cycle, and I'm really, I Know What You Did Last Summer just came out, which was at the end of like summer going into the fall and Halloween season. So I'm really kind of curious of like what that cycle is with like what's a movie that they're gonna put out right by Halloween, or does it do better if it comes out months in advance and then kind of like goes to Halloween towards the end? This isn't the year I'm probably gonna figure that out, but like maybe next year or something, I'll figure out kind of like what those kind of seasonal movies are like. But it wouldn't be like if this came out for Halloween, like it wouldn't surprise me. I think it's that good of a thriller. Um, yeah. So let's see. I appreciate you out in these type of movies. Not all hero wear capes, and I want to wear a cape, and I appreciate you. Uh, all capes, no cap. How about that? Um, okay. So I'm going to set up for the next movie. So give me 1 second. Let's see. Can I pull this off like that? Mm. One second. One second. So this is your bathroom. This is a bathroom break. We're at how many? How long are we at? An hour and 25. This is your bathroom break. Need water, popcorn, anything. This is your. We still got at least 2 movies to talk about, and then a couple TV shows. I'm trying to situate my phone. That's what. I'm sorry. I had like a whole new like setup today for my phone, um, so I'm just trying to figure something out real quick. I think that might work. I think that's going to work. All right, I'm gonna go. I'll be right back. We are going to talk about. Let's see. You know what? Let's talk about War of the Worlds next. All right. All right. All right. Going to use the bathroom really, really quick. I'll be sure to wash my hands, and then I will be right back. All right. Okay, this of course is the time where I get cold. So, all right. All right. Now, let me know in the comments below if you've heard of War of the War of the Worlds in any capacity. So, in the chat, put a 1 if yes, Put a two if no. Have you heard of War of the Worlds at all? Whether in book form, movies back in the day, like whatever. Let me know if you've heard of it. Okay, Ross said, that's crazy. Ross said Ice Cube made between 3 to 5 million for this movie. After taxes, agent fees, that's still over $1 million made for a terrible movie. If the check's clear, somebody got to show up. And one, I read the book, Make Your Old Man Jokes. Nah, I ain't got no old man jokes. All I was gonna say, your teacher is probably the one that wrote the book. If I'm not mistaken, this was a H.G. Wells book. This is like a well-known kind of like book that our parents and grandparents read back in the day, back when there's only like 25 letters in the alphabet. But anyway, listen, you know what? Honestly, Ice Cube probably took the money from this movie and put it to his basketball league, right? Let's see, Ice Cube. His big three league. That's probably where this money went to. So now, okay, to be real about this whole thing, um, so I'll get into the synopsis for the movie in a second, but on a real note, this movie was filmed during COVID. So the reason why none of these actors and actresses are in the same place at all is because it was filmed during COVID. Now they have to do like a 40 for 40 or 30 for 30 or something documentary or something at some point. Maybe Ice Cube's son O'Shea could be the one to do it. I don't know, but there has to be like a behind the scenes of what happened. Um, because this thing should not have been greenlit. Period. I don't know how much they made from this movie, but it probably wasn't enough. And the fact that it didn't come out on like during COVID, like, is crazy. And the fact that they waited 4 to 4.5 years later to drop it instead of just doing a tax write off, I don't know why, but there's a reason why this movie is being talked about. Now, I watched the movie before they started talking about it and before they started memeing it and all of that, and I understand why they did that. So we'll talk about that. But I did just want to point out that, like, just for a background reference, this was made during COVID, and none of the people are in the same place. Now, the controversy is whether the script was done before they got it, if they were writing it live while they were doing it, or if anybody knew anything of what was going on. That's the mystery. Now, Ice Cube, this isn't a movie that he directed, and this isn't a movie that he produced, for what I could tell. He was just an actor. So, yeah, his check cleared. He's the main character or the main actor in this movie, and that money probably either bought diapers for his grandbabies or went to his big three league. All right, so I'm sorry, I'm probably gonna laugh throughout this whole thing because it's hilarious. And I will never. I will like watch or like look at memes, and I feel like Apple will probably beat Samsung to this and make like a whole meme gallery of this, or like emojis with all these facial expressions. Um, I will never watch this movie again. But like, if this became like an emoji or a meme or something, like I believe it. All right, so let's talk about. Like I said, the War of the Worlds started out as a book by H.G. Wells, probably like in the beginning of the 1900s. Uh, 1898. Yep. Okay, cool. So the synopsis for this movie itself: a computer security analyst working for the US government finds his daily life disrupted by an alien attack. Accustomed to dealing with virtual threats, his struggle extends to secrets the government may be hiding. Yeah, but also like it was just trash. So he's basically like a analyst for like the like Homeland Security, and he goes to work every day, but he's spying on his family, and then he's dealing with like um, anonymous, doing all of these cyber attacks and making uploads and all of this stuff. And he got his girl calling and is literally going like back and forth, back. Like he's literally just switching between screens of like stuff that's going on. Uh, and then an alien attack happens and he got to like work with some people that he got on his different screens to take down the aliens. But he very much looks like a boomer in this movie, and like looks like he barely knows how to like use a computer, which is crazy. And like he's constantly like looking into like looking at the thing like that, like too close to the camera to like read the screen. It's just all bad. But what's memeable about it is like all his faces. So I'm gonna start out by saying that this movie is super ugly. Like is it Wanda from In Living Color? Yes. How ugly this movie is, bro. He's Wanda. This movie is Wanda ugly, bro, from In Living Color. Shout out to Jamie Foxx. All right. Anyway, so what makes this movie uh, worth or not worth talking about, or why it's being talked about, is because of Ice Cube's faces in all of these scenes. Because he's like overreacting, like, what? Really? No way. Are you serious? Like that? Like a director was like, yo, I'm not even gonna give you a script. Just give me a compilation of like faces and like actions, and I'm gonna just tie it all in the movie. You wouldn't even gotta leave the office today. Probably throw a green screen behind him and all of that. Um, Raj said, I knew it was not a watchable movie when Beyonce's internet has screenshots of the green screen reflection in Cube's glasses. Oh no, really? Oh man. Hold on. I didn't know that. Now I'm never gonna say that like Ice Cube is like the most prolific like actor in the world, but like let's not act like Friday isn't like a classic, if nothing else. Now, also, I want to point out before we get to these faces that like War of the Wars was like a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't even know how that's possible. But good news, it's up to 4% now. So, in case you were wondering, if you were concerned, it's up to 4%. All right. I couldn't find a picture of um, of the green screen reflection, but I do have other pictures I do want to share with y'all. Okay, so and these are in no particular order of the movie. Oh, maybe. Well, I don't know. Let me see. So this is kind of like a normal one. You know what I mean? It's just like a normal like granddad face, and then like you don't know anything about it. But then we start really going into it, right? And this isn't like a blown up picture. Like this is like literally a screen grab. Now, if we're talking about like green screen, and yeah, my face will probably be in the camera as I'm trying to look at the monitor, whatever. But yeah, I mean, I guess technically that is the green screen. That is the green screen. That's probably not really like that's bad, bro. Yeah, that straight up looked like a green screen. And that's just like a normal face, right? See, now I mean you don't necessarily see the green, but like it's just like there's only certain actors that can pull off just doing like facial expressions, like carrying the movie. And literally he's not acting doing anything else. He's just doing facial expressions. Now this one though, this is probably like the big one. This was the seller right here. This is when you knew he was gonna get an Oscar for this, right? Like, can't even believe it, dog. I can't even aliens. Like literally, like this is the whole movie. It's crazy. I wish I just had like gifts of this. Oh yeah, by the way, if you didn't know, Eva Longoria was in this movie too. Didn't make a difference. So she went from playing Ice Cube's boo to Eddie Murphy's wife in these two movies that we talked about in War of the Worlds uh, and The Pickup. So if y'all were concerned, bro, Eva Longoria is back. Oh yeah, and don't forget if you've forgotten anything else, there's also aliens in this movie, and they're bad, bro. Not bad like they're so destructive, like it's crazy. Like bad, like it's bad. Like they don't do nothing. They ain't going to war with nobody. Like there's no war. It's just like they're just trying to plug in like a USB drive. Like it's crazy. It's so stupid. So stupid. And they just happen to be as tall as buildings so that they can reach into the windows and install their USBs. Now, I know I said that Cube was probably going to get an Oscar for like this facial expression right here, and that's true. But honestly, I think like if anything, like this sums up the whole movie. Yo, hands off, bro. Hands off. I don't want no parts, nothing to do with this movie. Just send my money anonymously in the Cash App, and then we'll never talk about it again. I gotta love it. So yeah, uh, movie is certified horrible, ugly on my list. Please, like it. Now here's what's gonna happen. This is going to become a cult classic. I guarantee it because it's so memeable that people are, they're gonna be intoxicated, they're gonna be indulging this stuff, and it's gonna just be like a movie people pop on just to laugh at, like literally. Probably a bunch of teenagers after school. Like no one with like a life is going to like ever watch this again if they've already watched it. But like teenagers, like people that like only have part-time jobs, yeah, they're gonna rewatch this for sure. I will never rewatch this again unless I just do like an ultimate like tier of like horrible movies, and I probably won't even watch it again. It's seared in my brain how bad this is. Like it's so bad it smells. So, ugh, don't watch this movie. Now the one that Tom Cruise did a couple years ago, if I remember correctly, that was pretty good. 2005, that one was pretty good. But this one, stay far away from. Like, if you really want to be entertained, go read the book. That was made in 1898. That's crazy. Ugh. Let's close that out forever. All right. One more movie we have to talk about is going to be The Naked Gun. So, just as a recap, we talked about Pickup, which was mid. We talked about 40 Acres, which was mid. We talked about Weapons, which was really good. We talked about War of the Worlds, which was ugly. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about The Naked Gun. As far as these 5 movies are concerned, we'll talk about a couple TV shows, and then we'll get out of here. Crazy that this isn't pushing 4 hours, but we're at 2 hours. So, time flies when you're having fun. I'm still thinking about those faces, and then Raj was like, "Hell no, I'm not watching this." You know what though? I ain't never been in a movie before, so if they needed me to make some like faces for $1 million, bro, matter of fact, make it 2.5. That way, when they tax it, like I still have $1 million. Um, yo, I need those memes ASAP, bro. Need those memes ASAP. All right, we're gonna talk about the Naked Gun in a second. Let me go get a sip of water. And I'll be right back. Yo, just a side note about Ice Cube. Let's not forget that that this dude is like an iconic rapper either. So I don't think anyone is like using this movie as like, see, I told you he can't act, but like this will forever be like something to laugh at. All right. And shout out to Eva Longoria doing her thing. I hope she got 2.5 also. At least, right? All right, Raj, since you've been around since like the beginning of time, which one is your favorite Naked Gun movie? Now, obviously, by the time I knew who OJ was, it was because of the trial. I didn't know him as a football player. I didn't know him. I mean, I didn't know him as an actor. I learned about him in other acting roles later on in life, but I didn't necessarily know him as an actor. Some people were like, "Wow, I can't believe this dude was able to cross over into acting." I don't know. Uh, it's crazy what his legacy became, though. But so this is The Naked Gun. This is not a remake. This is a sequel. I believe there were three other versions, and this is like the fourth one. And obviously, uh, Leslie Nielsen is not alive um, anymore. So now we're with Liam Neeson. And it's crazy, and that's what was getting me tongue tied. Pause before Leslie Nielsen and Liam Neeson. I was like, wait, I know they're not related. Now I'm not sure which um, Naked Gun movie this is from. but I did see this meme before. This was like a joke. So I guess this was his son in the movie. So they're saying this is who Liam Neeson plays in The Naked Gun. Basically, he's Frank Jr. So, and that's like a whole running joke, right? So, if you've seen any of the other Naked Guns from the past, you got these three. So, you got Leslie Nielsen as Detective Frank Durbin. So now Liam Neeson is Frank Durbin Jr. Okay. Then you had Captain Ed Hockin, who was played by George Kennedy, who was this dude um, in the gray suit. He was the captain, and then he has a son that's playing Ed Hockin Jr. Right, and then you got OJ's character, which is Detective Fred Nordberg, and we're assuming that he also has a junior. But there's a hilarious way that they address that situation, and it's like a whole gag. Um, so yeah, so I thought it was funny how they did that. Raj said none of them were. He didn't like any of them. He was a little brother and had to sit through Leslie Nielsen ones because I wasn't going to change the channel without getting uh, corrected by his brother. Yeah, I mean, listen, I is it I've never heard of something being called Gemini humor. Maybe it's something I'll look into. Um, and shout out to your brother, one for giving you life lessons. Um, as a big brother should, but also for having good taste in comedies. So the reason why I pulled this pick up is because the again I don't they'll call it a reboot, but it's really just a sequel. That it was directed by Akivia Schaffer, who I have never heard of before in my life. But it was produced by Seth MacFarlane, who is the creator of Family Guy. And I think that humor of Family Guy goes hand in hand with these type of comedies. The cutaway scenes, the uh, ongoing jokes, the gags, the recurring cameos. Like you can't tell me that Seth MacFarlane didn't get inspired by these when he went to go write Family Guy. I mean, he's done other movies like 100. Is it 1,000 Ways to Die in the West? A Million Ways to Die in the West. Uh, yeah, and there's a bunch of gifts and stuff there. So I think he was the perfect person to produce this movie. And even though, uh, we know Liam Neeson from the Taken movies and playing like straight and narrow characters that's just gonna go and beat up people and get the job done, save the day. I think he did a fantastic job in this, and it's almost it just like Leslie Nielsen. He's serious while everything else is happening around him. And I think that's hilarious. And I wonder, to bring it full circle back to what Raj mentioned before, with Eddie Murphy playing the straight and narrow character, I wonder if he would do well in a role like this, where he is a straight and narrow character, but everything else around him is just insane, insanely zany. That would be interesting. So, shout out to Seth MacFarlane. I think this was a step in the right direction. And I think that this movie was so funny and enjoyable to watch that it will for sure get picked up for sequels. I can almost guarantee it. I think the last thing I heard of, like, it was doing great at the box office, and I think nowadays with the way humor is, I think it was a risky move. I mean, it's not like they put it out on like Netflix or anything to kind of test the waters. Like, they just put it out in theaters, and I think they did a great job, and they did an outstanding job. Now, the other surprising um, actress in this movie was Pamela Anderson. Now, I think it said Pamela Anderson is in her 60s. 58. I apologize. I apologize. 58. Um, but you know, I don't remember ever watching something with her being like a comedic person, but there is a scene in here in this movie, in this Naked Gun movie, that she is a standout in, and I think she holds her own comedically. And I wouldn't like throw the ball to her often, but I think they threw the ball to her and she caught it, and I thought that she scored. Um, I thought she scored with the ball. So, um, but I mean, she's also kind of playing like the straight and narrow character, just like he is. And I think together they did a fantastic job. I think they had great chemistry. And believe it or not, if you haven't heard, Pam Anderson and and Liam Neeson are actually dating. If you didn't know that, now let me see. Like I said, she's 58. Liam is 73. But hey, shout out to him, bro. Shout out to him. Shout out to him. Why not? I think they did a good job. And I mean, I think that they can do I think they can keep doing the movies and she doesn't necessarily have to be in it. And I can see it going either way. Like I can see I can either see it going where like, oh, they just, on to the next one, and like that was just like a footnote that she was in the first one, or they could kind of keep going with her. Um, but there also wasn't like a standout like chemistry of how the OGs were. Like you knew that when you got these movies, you were gonna get these three together, and you didn't necessarily have that with Liam Neeson and with anybody else. But I think like whoever else they put in the movie, I think would do great. And I think Paul Walter Hauser, I think he would do. I think he did a great job. I think he did just enough. I mean, he's a funny dude, right? He was in Cobra Kai. Like he has a certain style of comedy, especially like with him going at it with like kids and stuff. Um, I thought it was pretty cool, but he didn't necessarily like steal the show or anything. But he is funny. Um, and I thought it was pretty dope. I thought it was pretty smart too that they used him. So I mean, not much to talk about. There's no like there's no like reveals or anything, or like there's no scenes that necessarily stick out better than other ones. Besides that, well, actually, there is. Um, there is. There is. There is. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Yeah. Yo. All right. This is the only like. This ain't a spoiler, but it is a spoiler. But it ain't a spoiler. Raj said, I didn't know Seth was the producer. Not surprised, but makes sense, like you said, that it will get a sequel. 100%. I think this is his bread and butter for sure. Um, this movie is from the Jack Frost movie that came out like back in the day, like in the 2000s. Let's see, with oh 1998. I was close with Michael Keaton. I'ma just I'ma just leave that up there, and I'ma just leave it there. Just leave it there. So yeah, man. I will put the Naked Gun up at the top. I think like it is a hard um, comedy style to pull off, but I think they got the right team to do it. And shout out to Liam, man. 74 and still acting, bro. Talk about them checks are clearing. And why not move into this instead of doing like the hardcore trying to hop over fences and find his daughter over the phone type situation, right? I think this is a smooth, easy lane for him to transition to, and we can just kind of enjoy his Twilight tour. So shout out to the Naked Gun. And that is all for my quote unquote movies. So we talked about the pickup, which I said was mid basically. Said 40 Acres was mid. We said War of the Worlds was ugly and horrible, so don't watch it unless you want to just find a reason to laugh at it, not with it. Um, so bad. And then Weapons and Naked Gun were really good. These are the five movies that I watched pretty much this week, man. I really put some time into it. So I'm glad that I was able to bring it to y'all and talk about it. And like I said, if y'all want to go see a movie in theaters, if you want to laugh, go see Naked Gun. If you want a thriller, go see Weapon. Sure. And if you want to wait for it to come out on streaming, there's nothing wrong with that too. Now, the other two shows, I was just gonna talk about the two shows because we're like midway through, and they're kind of on like a break. Which Raj is not gonna watch either one of these. So, like I said, like for y'all that came through, like we are literally at 2 hours and 15 minutes. Crazy how the last stream was 4 hours, but it was also reacting to the Midnight Boys video, so that tends to take up some more time, especially when I additionally have stuff to talk about. So thank y'all for coming through. especially y'all that got to get up like early in the morning, got kids to go to school, y'all got to go to work, whatever. Definitely gonna clip this and put out some videos for you tomorrow. Um, but if this is where you leave me, I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Right, I'm your favorite cousin. No relation. Um, but like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, and I mean, this MidWatch thing, like I said, we're gonna get the schedule down pat. It has seemingly been, around this time on Sundays. Football season's coming up, so I got to compete with that now. Throughout the week, I got to compete with basketball coming up soon, and all the other little things that are gonna pop up. So we'll lock down the schedule. But as always, even if you pop in, pop out. Um, I, the live will always be posted right after, and then I'll always go ahead and clip it and post clips so you guys can get some of the hot points. But if you guys like long streams, I appreciate it. I also got to figure out how to get back on streaming on Twitch and stuff like that. So I'm slowly getting there. We're slowly getting there, but I want to give you guys my authentic kind of opinions about stuff that I watch. I like having discussions about it. I want to hear what you guys and gals have to say about it. Whether you like stuff, whether you hate it, whether you love it, whether you recommend it, whether you're a diehard fanatic, whether you want that far away from you. But I like talking about characters. Um, I like talking about like storylines. Does stuff make sense? Does it not make sense? And then does it hold my attention? Right. And I want to rate stuff fairly. I don't want to. I don't. I don't want to rate it based on what the media is saying or the agendas are saying. I'm going to rate it how I feel, and that's not necessarily going to. Um, that's not necessarily to persuade or dissuade you from anything. I'm just going to be honest about it, but I'm also going to tell you why I feel like that. And I know with some other content creators, they give you like the Hollywood version, movie reaction, all of that stuff, but I like talking about it. This is why I have this channel. Raj said he wants me to talk about Eyes of Wakanda, so we will start with that first. Then we will talk about Twisted Metal, and then we'll end it with the Netflix show Wednesday. Okay, and just the what just caught me my attention was there was a question posed if there was going to be a part two for Eyes of Wakanda, but no, there's not. Now, Raj, I'm gonna get a sip of water, but while I do that, please tell me what you liked and didn't like about this show. And then I'll tell you what I liked and didn't like about this show. Yeah, I mean a cookie. Give me a second. Raj, I just want you to know your humor is buried deeper inside you. And I can say that with a straight face because that's what you sent. That's the link you said, and I'm reading it. I'm reading it verbatim what it said. Your sense of humor is buried deeper inside you. So you go ahead and ponder on that one. Mm. Yeah, I mean, zingers, one-liners, clever puns. I mean, I really do, and I'm saying this of how I feel. Like I've thought about this for a very long time. That I often do see jokes and punchlines before like they get to them. And for me, it's not the punchline isn't what stands out. It's how they get there. I'm gonna just leave it like that. So, like for me, humor is humor is different because I I know where the story is going. I just care about how you get it. Yeah, A is right. All right, so let's talk about Eyes of Wakanda. Eyes of Wakanda. Yo, first of all, before we even get into it, how did you feel like the music was hitting? Because I didn't feel like I walked out like I don't feel like we had a theme song. I don't feel like there was like none that stood out. All right. So Raj said when it came to Eyes of Wakanda, he loved learning more about the lore of the Dora Milaje history. Excuse me. The first episode was my favorite, and the Greek one with Achilles was second. I told you that. You told me that it wasn't gonna be. The last episode was surprisingly very rushed to me. Mm, okay. Um. All right. 4 episodes, right? Yep, 4 episodes. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about. I'll talk about. I'll briefly just talk about the 4 episodes because it was only 4 quick episodes, and then I'll tell you how I felt about the show. He said it was okay. It didn't need a standout theme song to me, but maybe it did. All right, so the first one was okay, so if you don't know what Eyes of Wakanda is, it was the Disney Plus show. It's based on the Black Panther movie. And then it kind of, to Roger's point, goes deeper into the lore of Wakanda. And yeah, it was about the Dora Milaje, but for me, it was more about the war dogs more than the Dora Milaje. So if you haven't seen Black Panther, just go watch Black Panther, the first one. I've recently seen the second Black Panther one, and I don't need it in my life. The Black Panther one is strong enough by itself. Okay, but so if you haven't seen it or if it's been a while, just go watch Black Panther. Now, in the Black Panther movie, they talk about the war dogs in the very beginning because T'Challa's uncle, which I don't remember his name, was a war dog, and that's how he ended up in Los Angeles or Oakland. And then T'Challa's father, T'Chaka, came to visit him in the beginning of the movie, visit his brother um, in Oakland as the Black Panther. So the war dogs are basically like spies for Wakanda that go on these that get stationed in different parts of the world, and they may infiltrate stuff, they may get information or what have you, but like they get assigned, it's a special like role that they get from the king, and then they get sent out into the world, into the regular world. Whereas Wakanda is a secret. They're in the rest of the world, one, protecting that secret, making sure no one else is getting hip to that secret, but also like doing whatever their mission is. So it's a mission based kind of role. The difference between the War Dogs and the Dora Milaje are the Dora Milaje are basically the royal guard for the king and the queen and the princess, and they're also they're also one of the last lines of defense when it comes to protecting the royal family. And it's usually held by women, and it's in high regard, and they come from the different tribes. They get picked, and then they get trained, and then they get selected to be in the Dora Milaje. So it's a big deal. People that you know that are in the Dora Milaje is like Okoye. The difference between Okoye and Nakia is a war dog. We see her in the beginning of the Black Panther movie where she is helping like the kids in like in the trucks and stuff, and then T'Challa shows up, frees them, and then she's like, "Oh, I was undercover. You're blowing my mission." He was like, "My dad just died. I need you to come home." Okay, so though, but like we've seen those in two different facets. It's even to the point in the second Wakanda movie where Nakia is like living somewhere else. She's not in Wakanda, and it's assumed that she's like as a war dog, but she's not as a war dog. She's just like living her life for a reason. I'm not gonna spoil it. Go watch the movie if you want to know. So this show, Eyes of Wakanda, are literally the eyes of Wakanda in the rest of the world, aka the War Dogs. Okay, so Rod said, agreed. I kind of blended the War Dogs in with the Dora Milaje. Now, I mean, it's all good, and I don't think you're the only person that does, and it makes sense, right? Because I think there's a fine line, but it's almost like the CIA versus the FBI. One is at home, one is foreign, one is domestic. Okay, so Into the Lion's Den. Okay, now the other thing with the Eyes of Wakanda is these are all different like time periods, so it's not like necessarily linear. And I don't remember like how far early the meteorite fell into Wakanda and gave them um, vibranium. I don't remember when that is, but the first episode starts out early on in 1260 BC. The name of it was Into the Lion's Den, and then it says a disgraced former Dora Milaje named Nani pursues a man known as Lion who defected from Wakandan guard to lead a band of pirates. Now, the reason why this one was pretty cool was because one, it addressed the Dora Milaje, and it showed that not everyone upholds those standards of being part of the War Dogs or being a part of the Dora Milaje. Some people fall out of it. Some people like Nkoye, Dora Okoye, take it more serious than others. So it just shows you that there's friction and fractions within both groups, even though they're high regard to their importance. to the Empire of Wakanda. And this kind of like, so Nani is basically given a second chance as a because she didn't do well with the Dora Milaje. They let her try out this kind of war dog situation, and that's basically her mission. And then she basically goes after the lion, who was actually a war dog who defected and took other defects, and started making a band of pirates and stuff, and using like vibranium early on to kind of like try to make their own kind of empire. So I mean that one was pretty cool because it gave like the history of both kind of like sides of the groups, and like I said, showed the different kind of layers, which we've never really gotten before. I mean, not really. I know with like with Okoye, like we got kind of stuff like when she got relieved from being the general of the Dora Milaje, but never like, yo, I'm not doing this type or failed. Second one is called Legends and Lies. It says Memnon tries to infiltrate Troy. So this was the one that Roger was talking about like the Greeks and Achilles, like the actual like story of Achilles. So he tries to infiltrate Troy while carrying out a secret mission to recover a Wakandan artifact. And then it seems like a lot of these are like, again, they're protecting secrets. So a lot of these are like not only missions to like stop someone, but a lot of these are also like retrieval kind of things where they're trying to bring back artifacts that have vibranium in it back behind the walls of Wakanda so that it's safe. I wish we would have saw more of how these of the vibranium kept getting leaked out and like being put into these artifacts, because it's not like oh, this vibranium meteorite fell into this and then other people were using it because they didn't even know how to use the vibranium, but somehow it got just infused with artifacts from other parts of history, and they don't really explain like how these pieces of vibranium are being taken out of Wakanda. So then that was pretty cool. Like if you're like really into like Greek mythology, like I said, the dude Memnon, he like goes hand in hand with Troy, and then there's a whole like side story. So it was pretty cool. Lost and Found says this is episode 3. After a successful mission in the mountains of China, Basha returns home, unaware that a stowaway is aboard his transport. Back in the Golden City, Basha scrambles to contain the powerful intruder. So this kind of introduces the Iron Fist, which was actually a female, which I don't know the history of the Iron Fist. So I thought it was like really cool to kind of see how other things in Marvel kind of cross over and intersect in different parts of time. The last one is called The Last Panther. So this says during the first Italo-Ethiopian War, Kuda and Prince Tafari are tasked with retrieving a vibranium axe. On their return home, an intruder intercepts their transport to return the axe. Now I'm not going to reveal it, but like all of what's going on. But this was the first one to actually like talk about the Black Panther, and this one tied into the first movie. So Ross said he didn't know who Iron Fist was because he didn't watch the TV shows. I'm tripping. So Iron Fist in the MCU is Danny Rand. and he was part of the Netflix show. He had his show Iron Fist. If I'm not mistaken, there were 2 seasons of this, and then um, he was also in the other show with the Daredevil and them, the Defenders. So Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, and then Danny Rand, Iron Fist was the Defenders. I'm not gonna go into the whole thing about Iron Fist, but yeah, like that was the reason why I connected. So, like I said, I didn't know the history of Iron Fist, but yeah. But I mean, what was cool is they were showing that like, the Iron Fist gets busy. Like Iron Fist can really fight. Like that is really important. And then the style of like Wakandan fighting, African tribal versus like, you know, Asian, kind of ninja style was pretty dope. So, yeah, so this isn't like there's not going to be a season 2 or a part 2 or anything. So this is kind of like if you want to watch it, you could watch it. If not, you can miss it. But it's just for people that are more curious about like Wakanda and the history of Wakanda. Now, I'm going to talk about like what I thought about this. It said our IMDb has a 6.4 out of 10. On Rotten Tomatoes, it's a 91%. Now, okay. With the second Black Panther movie, they had to address T'Challa dying because the actor Chadwick Boseman died in real life, and then they were trying to introduce um, the Submariner, who is like the Marvel version of Aquaman. Let's see, Namor, but yeah, but his he's also known as the Submariner. Um, so they were introducing that character, the whole kind of like underworld Atlantis type thing, and then everything going on with death and all of that stuff with Chadwick passing away and all of that stuff, and then passing on the mantle of Black Panther and all of that. So there was a lot going on. I didn't personally like the second one as much as I hoped that I would because it just stayed in the like the emotion of loss. It was a very very heavy movie. It's a very heavy movie. Um, and there's a lot of funeral scenes. Like I can see like a person, you know, latching onto that movie, and then I can also see why some people would never watch that movie again. How do I feel about this show as Wakanda? I didn't necessarily put two and two together, so I didn't put together like the eyes of Wakanda with it being like the war dogs. Um, I just kind of thought about it just as a Wakanda show. And the reason why I'm disappointed is not the animation style or anything like that. I I care about Black Panther. I care about Wakanda and Vibranium. I care about the Dora Milaje, and then I care about the War Dogs. And I feel like they missed such a great opportunity to talk about the history of the Black Panther that we never got. If Marvel is like confused about what they want to do in the future with Black Panther, fine. But they should have talked about T'Chaka being the Black Panther. They should have talked about his family. They could have brought in the ancestral plane. Like, were there other female Black Panthers before, you know, Shuri? I'm sure there was, right? I mean, they could have talked about the different tribes or, just there's just so much that they could have talked about, right? They could have talked about the Eyes of Wakanda in a modern sense. Where are the war dogs now? What countries are they in? What are they facing after the blip? What are they facing with after T'Challa died? What are they dealing with now that Shuri is the Black Panther, and you know what I mean, and all of that stuff. Like, if you were gonna give me a War Dog story, give me the War Dog story about T'Challa's uncle. That's the one I care about. Where did that, how did that lead into, Eric Killmonger becoming who he is? That's the story I care about because that's relevant. All of these misaligned, like you throwing in the Iron Fist story, and half the people don't even, 75% of people don't even know who Iron Fist is a waste, bro. You throwing in a story about Achilles, okay, cool, but what does it have to do with now, right? Unless you're going down that path, like, oh, war dogs dealing with these, great monumental historical figures and stories and stuff like that. It's a waste of time. I don't care. And I watched all four because I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And then these stories were pretty much disconnected. Like, it was pretty much like, oh, me 50 years ago and now it's your turn, but I don't care. I don't know who these people are, and they have no relevance to like the story of Black Panther, what we have, and where it's going. I don't care. I don't care. Hell, if you want to show me something, show me how it is for a girl to get selected from a tribe and then have to go through the training to become a Dora Milaje and her first assignment and all of that stuff. That's what I care about. And her looking up to Okoye or these great like leaders that were like, great generals for the kings and queens and the royal family. Hell, give me the history of Vibranium. How did Vibranium get like lost into Talokan and turn Namor and all his people into like mutants? That's what I care about. How come the Wakanda people are mutants? How come Namor and his people are mutants? Where is Vibranium else? Give me a story of Ulysses, Claw coming through and his great stealing of vibranium and bringing it all over the world. Other than that, I don't care. I don't care. And I'm not like a person that read the comics, right? And I probably know a little bit more than most people. Most of the average people, you're giving us stories that we don't care. And sure, you may be like scared to touch Black Panther, but there's so many more echelons of stories that we care about other than this. Hell, I care about, Storm Aurora Monroe and her tribe dealing with, mutants and all of this stuff. Hell, does she got vibranium ties? What is it like for Storm to come across the path? Like, how does she deal with African tribes and in wars and all of this stuff versus like Wakandan people? And has there ever been a war dog assigned to Storm and her tribe and looking out for these people and stuff like that? Like, those are the stories I care about. You're giving me stories I don't care about, and then you put Ryan Coogler on there, like that's supposed to be an automatic like sell. So like I feel like you're wasting his name because you're just anything Black you're putting his name on, and I feel like you're gonna degrade him. Because now instead of giving us this high like echelon, like a Spike Lee joint, right, or an Ice Cube joint, like, oh, that's a Ryan Coogler joint, you're putting his name on trash stuff just for the sake of like, oh, it should be okay. Ryan's name is on it. Like, you're going from Sinners to this, and then you got my man's like out here doing like, and he did Ironheart, and that was trash. And now you got him doing like these world tours, trying to act like he's supporting it. Like, you're wasting my time, and I feel like you're missing the mark. Like, this is my whole thing with DC and Batman. Like, you don't know what you're doing, and all you're doing is you're making the loyal fans push further and further away. Raj said I have value points on what you want to see. Look, you should have put this out on a poll or something, or fielded like, who greenlit this, bro? Who was like, yo, you know what we really want to see? We really want to say, like, we really want to see War Dogs. Like, who sat up there and was like, the missing link that ever? No, we care about Black Panther. You don't want to recast them. You don't want to give us Black Panther from another dimension. You stuck Shuri with the whole Black Panther mantle, and then she leaves at the end of the movie. Like, we have no idea what's going on with this character, and you expect us to care, and we don't, right? Like, it's not Wakanda for that. Like, there's no support. Yeah, like, if you are building off the hype of something, I can understand. But this isn't it. This isn't it. And I like, it's sad, bro. Like, it's really sad. And I hate the fact that like we as Black people are finally getting like characters that like anyone can like look up to, and then like you're just dragging this through the mud, and like this is what you're doing like with everything. And all this makes me feel is like I don't care anymore. Like, I care even less now. Like, the stories that I actually cared about, now you're making me not even care about that anymore. And I don't even know if this is a money grab, because I don't even know if people watch this. No one has come up to me and be like, yo, did you see Eyes of Wakanda? No, like, no one is talking about this. No, and then the stories are it's an anthology, but it's so disjointed. Like, this stuff is not memorable. The only thing that makes this memorable is Achilles, because people kind of sort of have a reference point for them. Hell, you probably should have let him fight Hercules, and that probably would have been better. That would have made more sense. Anyway, look, I'm I'm not. You didn't pay me to write the story, but you are hoping that people like me, not only as a fan, but as a viewer, as a reviewer. Like, you want us to like it, so we can go tell other people to like it. And I would never tell anybody to go watch this. It's a waste of time. Like, and I wish that there was a way to make this louder. I wish I can sit Ryan Coogler down and be like, yo, don't just greenlit anything that they put in front of you. But the other problem is like Bay DeMayo from the X-Men. Like, this dude is on the outskirts, you yelling from outside the gym, and no one's listening to him anymore, even though he gave us X-Men 97, and that is probably the best animation that we've gotten from the MCU, regardless of it being on Disney Plus. That is the best animation. And if that's not the caliber of storytelling and character writing and development that you're gonna give us, you're wasting our time, and I don't care. So much so that if you ever do this again, like, I'm probably gonna let other reviewers review it before I even look at it, because I don't care enough. Like, that's how like far removed I am from this. Like, Ironheart, like, I really gave it a chance, but like I'm just done. I mean, and you messed up not Secret Invasion. Yeah, was it Secret Invasion with Samuel L. Jackson? Yep, Secret Invasion with Sam Jackson. Yo, how do you mess up a TV show? How do you mess up a TV show with Sam Jackson in it? Like, I literally, like, and this is building off scrolls, like stuff that you already had established. How do you mess this up, bro? How do you mess this up? And like this isn't a dude that is just coming in here like Ice Cube cashing a check. Like this is Sam Jackson. Like he is a founding father of the MCU, just like Tony Stark. Like if it wasn't for him, you probably wouldn't have had people that bought into this. And you like he finally gets his own show. Like we want him to have a Mace Windu show, and we can't even get that. And this is Disney, and you finally give this man his own show, and you messed that up too. What do you like? You don't care about black people. Like this is Kanye West and George Bush all over again. The MCU does not care about black people. Like I'm literally about to just get a t-shirt and say this. Like I'm so done. And I'm sorry, like if there was people that really love this, but like you're literally giving us trash, bro. You're giving us trash, and it's not okay. And like this isn't like a coloring book that you're giving us out at Chick-fil-A after we eat a meal. Like you're giving this us and trying to like sell it to us, and you're giving us trash. You're giving us stuff that we don't want. Envering. Raj, if you have anything else you want to add to this, but I have nothing left for Eyes of Wakanda. I mean, I literally have Black Panther as my wallpaper on my computer. Yeah, Secret Invasion was the bottom of the barrel. How do you mess up a TV show with Sam Jackson in it? And even though you don't like him, and you had Don Cheadle in it, like, and don't even get me started on Black Captain America. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And no, Ryan Coogler cannot just save all Black media in Marvel. Like, like you have to have competent people in there that's willing to fight back. And I'm done. I'm done. All right, bro. Give me a second. Give me like 65 seconds to get a swig of water, and then we're gonna finish this up about Twisted Metal. And that really upset me, bro. I mean, hell, I probably, I think I was holding those feelings. I ain't gonna lie to you. So Raj, thank you for reminding me to let that stuff go. So I'm not thinking about it all week because it really did piss me off. And not that because it was terrible, because you're wasting my time. All right. Swig of water and then we're done. All right, then we get back to it. Like I said, if anything, you're gonna get an honest reaction out of me. If I don't give you nothing else, if you don't agree with nothing else, you are gonna get an honest opinion. Because that's all I have to give. And you may or may not like it, but it will be honest. Believe that. Shit, I'm trying to keep it 1,000, but I appreciate you. Shout out to the 4 people watching. Appreciate y'all. All right, so we're gonna keep it lighthearted. I mean, not lighthearted, but I feel less emotional about this. All right, so Twisted Metal, we're on season 2. We did the first half of. Let's see. Pretty, we're pretty much like halfway through. I think we got one more episode, and then we're halfway through. Um, if I'm not mistaken. That's what IMDb says. But this is a season 2, and then Wednesday is a season 2, and I try to talk about shows in their second season or whatever, or penultimate season, whatever. Yeah, 12 episodes. So we're almost halfway through. So this one is coming out pretty much weekly. No, I don't. It's coming out in like groups. So like July 31st, 3 episodes dropped. August 7th, 2 episodes dropped. August 14th, 2 episodes are dropped. August 21st, 2 episodes are dropped. And then August 28th, the last 3 episodes are dropped. Um, Also, I think the name of each episode is like written like a license plate. So if you don't know what Twisted Metal is, it's based on a video game from the '90s that was on like PlayStation. Um, and it was basically like it was kind of like what's that game that everyone plays? Grand Theft Auto. It was kind of Grand Theft Auto before Grand Theft Auto came out. And basically, you could just like drive around in these different crazy cars, like ice cream truck. Axel he's like connected to like 2 tires, like all these crazy looking characters. You can see in the picture, the clown. His name is Sweet Tooth. Um, so just all these crazy characters, and then you basically drive around, shoot bombs at each other and blow each other up and all of this stuff. Maybe there was a remake in 2015. I don't know, but I mean, there's some like classic like characters, and Axel is one of them. Sweet Tooth is another one. Um, so maybe like at the end, I'll do like a deep dive of like the characters from like the games, the memorable characters, and see if like they're actually in the show, whatever. But like I said, this is like a season 2. This is an easy watch. Um, this has more of a plot line than the games. Like there's the main character is actually played by Anthony Mackie. His name is John Doe. And then you have Stephanie Beatriz, who is from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I've never watched that show, but I know a lot of people like her. And then she was also, I think she was Maribel in Encanto. So yeah, people know her. People are familiar with her. And then people know who Anthony Mackie is, obviously as Falcon, and now the new Captain America. But the reason why I wanted to bring this up is because I don't think Anthony Mackie did a great job as Captain America. And I think the role of Captain America is too big for him. As a side character, as Falcon, he's fine. Maybe as a buddy cop thing with him and Bucky, that's fine. I think a leading movie role such as Captain America is too big for him. And that's not me trying to put down Anthony Mackie. that has nothing to do with me like not trying to support the brother. I mean, I think I watched Captain America twice. Like I've watched stuff of his that I wish I'd never seen, but I do like him in this show because I feel like it's not asking too much of him, and I feel like he could just be himself. And I think the difference between Anthony Mackie and other character or other actors is I don't think he's good at being characters where you don't see him in the role. I think that a role where you see him blended as a character that feel natural for him, I think he can pull it off. I don't think he's one of those from everything that I've seen so far. I don't look at him and see him as a character that could just blend in play anybody. Like he couldn't come in and play Reed Richards. Um, just like he doesn't to me he doesn't have that, and I think Chris Evans does. Like I mean I think he's played so many just variety of roles that I mean yeah I mean he's a great actor, um, especially for like shows like this like franchise shows. But I think like Anthony Mackie could be himself, and even when he's kind of like a weird, like he wants to be straight and narrow, but then he wants to like be straight and narrow, like with a grin or like a smirk, whatever. I don't find him funny, but I feel like this character is natural to him, and I enjoy him in this character. I also like where they're going. I also like where they're going with this story, like him, like bringing like his past into it and all of this stuff, and getting to learn more about this character. I think he's doing a phenomenal job, and I just like Twisted Metal. I've never played it because I wasn't into playing video games, but I always enjoyed watching other people play the game, and I thought it was cool. So I was interested in the TV show with or without Anthony Mackie in it, and I think he's doing a great job, even better than season 2 in this role. So, and Stephanie Beatrice is doing a great job too, and I think they both have chemistry, and it's like a weird chemistry, but I think for this show it fits. It's campy. I think Anthony Mackie is campy, and I think he fits into the campy aesthetic. I just don't think Captain America is campy, and therefore I don't think he's doing a good job at that. Also, side note, the actor that plays Sweet Tooth is not the person that voices him. The person that voices him is Will Arnett, which is cool. But I mean, dude's in the mask, so you don't really ever hear him talking. I mean, Samoa Joe, never heard of him. Wrestler, okay, makes sense. AEW, okay, I'll take it. You don't hear him talk, but yeah, Sweet Tooth is dope. So yeah, man. I mean, I'll probably talk more about Twisted Metal at the end of the season. But like this is a halfway point. But like if you're looking for something to watch, if you've never watched Twisted Metal, if you were interested in it when back in the day, if you're into video games, I think this is a really cool kind of video game to TV adaptation. It's on Peacock. Like it's not asking too much, it's not doing too much, but there's a method to their madness. And I feel like you get that twisted metal feel out of it. And it's campy. So there you go. Raj said I would say the same for Julie and Kiki. Interesting. Yeah. I mean, fair point. Fair point. I mean, some people just they fit the roles that are more like them, and that's okay. And I do agree with that. I think Julia being in weapons, I think there's very there's a similar kind of like Midwestern aesthetic with that character from the movie, from the Weapons movie, as her character in Ozark. So it's believable. Now, her playing Silver Surfer, but you get what you get. So if you are interested, watch Twisted Metal. If you've watched it, let me know if you've liked it, yes or no in the comments. But I recommend it, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the second half. And then uh, just also kind of like, I don't know why I did that. Just also kind of like side note, kind of like random. Me trying to find stuff to watch on Netflix. These are two things that I've watched in the last 30 days that I thought were pretty cool, that are kind of random. And I think I've talked about this one, Building the Band. I'm not going to go too deep into it. But if you're into kind of like shows that have to do with like competition, kind of like American Idol, but this is more kind of like they once the people individually get through kind of like the trial phase, they they build their own band slash like music group, and then they have to finish the rest of the competition as their group, which is pretty cool. So if you're into music, right, Kelly Rowland is in it. I think this dude's AJ, right? Nicole Schwarzinger, the Dolls, and then this dude's name is it? I think his name is Liam. Um, Liam Payne, who actually passed away last year. So this was filmed right before his passing away. I'm not gonna get too much into that. That was like a whole like rabbit hole, whatever. But yeah, good show. The bands are cool. The groups are cool, and you do get to see kind of like a lot of behind the scenes stuff that is different than like American Idol stuff like that. So if you're into music, that's definitely cool, worth checking out. And then the other show that I watched recently is this one called Hit. Now these are all like already established people in the industry. Like some people have worked with K-pop groups, some people have worked with Usher, like just different things, but they're pretty much all like well known in the industry, like people that have hits and stuff like that. And this is just kind of like a it's supposed to be a competition, but really you just get to see how they work. They get put into these like they're called camps, and they break up into different groups every camp they go to, and then they make hits, and then they have to like try to get it to the artists and stuff. So like if you're into music, if you're curious about how things work behind the scenes and camps and what's it like, the everyday hustle and bustle and all of that stuff, I think this was kind of like a cool like peek behind the curtain. Just something that was an easy watch, couple episodes, you know, and the music was really cool and really dope. There is a bit of drama, but you also get to kind of see how some of them live also once they really start making it. It's pretty dope. All right, and then for real, last we're gonna talk about on a Wednesday. I hate you, Raj. I hate you. Believe it or not, regardless of what people say, I actually watch these music shows on my own. Again, it's hard for me. It's hard to find what to watch on Netflix. I feel like they're kind of falling off on like their tiers and standards. So I feel like you just got to kind of find something and just go with it. All right. Last but not least, we're going to talk about Wednesday, and this is its second season. Obviously, this is about Wednesday Adams, starring Jenna Ortega, Hunter Duhan. Um, yeah, Hunter plays Tyler. Obviously, Jenna Ortega is the main character playing Wednesday Adams. And then Emma Myers plays Enid, which is like her roommate slash best friend. Then you got a bunch of other characters in here. You have Catherine Zeta-Jones playing Morticia Adams. You have Louis Guzman playing Gomez Adams. And then, um, dude's name. You have Steve Buscemi playing Barry Dort now, who was like the principal for the second season. You got Isaac Ordonez playing Pugsley. And then I'm looking for the dude's name. Victor Dorobantu plays Thing, which is like the hand, that kind of hand. I'm trying to find the dude that plays Uncle Fester. That's really what I'm trying to. It's crazy. Fred Armisen. Yeah. Okay. Okay, cool. So, this is the second season. We're halfway through, which is pretty dope. I think I watched it yesterday and I got through like the first half all in one sitting. Yep. 4 episodes out of 8. I wish I had a fifth episode, but I think it's really cool. So obviously, it's kind of like the whole like play on like kids at school and stuff isn't going ain't what it seems and all of that stuff. But if you're interested in the Adams family at all, like it's kind of like spooky, but it's not scary. It's not freaky. It's not horrifying. It's not dark. It's campy. And I think this is Jenna Ortega's role. Now, she's older now, right? So her, I mean, she's still playing like a teenager. And at this point, she might be like 15 in the show. She's 22 years old in real life. Um, and she was just in the Beetlejuice movie. She looked older in that. I mean, she was like a full adult in Beetlejuice. She was in Death of a Unicorn. I mean, she is one of those people that's coming. Like she's. I don't want to say she's being pushed, but she's definitely coming into her own, and she's standing out. Right? She is falling in the line with Winona Ryder, Michael Keaton, Tim Burton, that whole group of people. You know, was the dude that played Jack Sparrow, um, Captain Jack. Really, I want to Captain Jack Sparrow, but really, I'm trying to get to him to get to the other movie. It's played by Johnny Depp. And then actually what I'm thinking of Sweeney Todd. And I'm actually thinking the female actress Helen Bonham Carter. Yeah. So I mean, there's some actors and actresses that can kind of like that are in that realm that can stay there, and like that's just their lane, right? And Winona Ryder is there. This lady Helena Bohem Carter, she's there. Johnny Depp is there. All the Tim Burton people. Even Catherine Zeta-Jones is doing a phenomenal job as Morticia Adams. I think it's fantastic. The dude that plays on Fester, like all of these, like the Guzman or Louis Guzman, like him playing the dad, like they got the right cast, and they all feel, excuse me, like a family. And then Enid coming in being like the rainbow bubbly, contrast all of that. Christina Ricci, who had played young Wednesday Adams in the movies, right? She's in the shows. She has her own role. I think she does a phenomenal job in that lane. So I think this is Jenna Ortega's lane. And again, like this isn't like dark humor. It's just like dark, kind of bizarre. This works for her, and not to say that she shouldn't branch out and do other roles, but I think this really works for her. And this will, no matter what, be her iconic role. No matter what she does, I believe in her career, people will remember her as Wednesday. And it might get to a point where they might end up doing like a movie. I could see that, like her when she graduates from the academy or something, and they do like a movie or something. I think that would be dope. So, and then this is right in line with Halloween again, talking about weapons from earlier. So, this is at the beginning of the season. They already got like the toys out and the costumes out and all of this stuff. So I think it'll be even bigger this year than it was season one. So, just last recommendation, Twisted Metal, Wednesday, if you're looking for some shows to watch. I know Dexter Resurrection is out there. I got to get to it, but it's not over yet, so I still got some time. Um, so, yeah, man, we'll probably be talking about these shows probably next month. They'll probably all be coming all together. So, again, this is like just starting out second season, but you also got the first season you could binge. So, if you didn't catch it last time, it's out. People are talking about it. Enjoy it. I love a good show. Most of a lot of times more than a good movie. I love a good binge. So in the comments below, let me know if there's a show that you're watching that you recommend that you want me to check out, and hopefully next time I get on here we'll be able to talk about it. I love you guys. Thank y'all for rocking with me. We didn't do 4 hours, but we did 3 hours and 21 minutes, and that was probably because of that Eyes of Wakanda rant that I did. But we're here now. So I love y'all. It's Sunday going into Monday. Y'all get some rest. Enjoy your week. Have a productive week. Have a positive week. And look out for the clips, especially if you popped in, popped out. Definitely a lot that we talked about. Shout out to the top 5 movies. We talked about Weapons, Naked Gun, War of the Worlds, The Pickup, and 40 Acres. So go back, listen to what I said about that. And we'll talk soon, man. This is your favorite cousin LT. No relation. Love y'all. Like, share, subscribe, yada, yada, yada. We out. Peace. End stream.